Alright guys, bit of an update. It's been about a week since I've really done anything big on the car, but I've been doing a few small things. So I started off with doing obviously heat wrap for the header, downpipe. I'm going to bolt the turbo and all the manifolds and all that back together, just that way that's all together. I can just slap the exhaust mani straight on with turbo, everything. My dad has sandblasted the valve cover, timing chain cover, and they turned out sick. As you can see on top, I've got these custom covers made. They are by Not Scared Racing, and they are just flipping sick. So, oh yep, and that is the oil line. So the oil lines go through the black clips, and that bolts right there. So my plan is that the block's black. Obviously, it's going to leave the head. The valve cover, timing chain cover, I am going to be painting yellow, and then these two covers from Not Scared Racing are going to be going black. So yellow and black theme kind of match the car. Yeah, pretty keen. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to just bolt them onto the motor, this timing chain cover and valve cover, as I am, well, my dad and I are going to start dummy testing the motor and gearbox in. Going to do the mounts, and then once we're happy with all that, we're going to rip it out and then put all the parts on. As the longer it sits on the stand, the more money and more upgrades I want to do. So I just want to get it in, so I'm not upgrading anymore because the bank's not liking me at the moment. So yeah, bolt this stuff on, and yeah, we'll go from there. Alright, there you go. So that's what the cover looks like bolted on, and that's just, I'm just holding that in place as for the oil line. So that's all bolted up, ready to, well, we're doing pretty close to my face, ready to start dummy testing, dummy fitting, whatever you want to call it. Alright guys, so this is going to be a quick little update of where we're at. My dad and I, we did dummy test fit the motor. As you can probably see, oil pan and the oil pickup is taken off. Cleaning up all the oil off the sump, as the plan is to get it shortened. So you can see here, we're actually going to be cutting all this off here, and then just going to go on a slight angle down there. Going to move the drain plug to over here now, or even underneath, and then we just got to shorten the pickup as oil comes out of it to around about here somewhere. So that's the plan. Yeah, I've just got heaps of degreaser. I'm going to clean this sump up as best as I can for the guy to weld it, so it's easy for him. So that's kind of where we're at now. You've probably watched this, you haven't seen us doing much, it's more me talking about what we're doing, as this is kind of like the boring stuff, the sorting out stuff. But once you got the sump back, and then it's going to be, you know, starting to make brackets and engine mounts and gearbox mounts. So we'll get better. This is just the long boring stuff we're getting out first. So yeah, hopefully when we come back, we're test fitting the motor with the cut sump. So we'll catch you then. Alright guys, update, we are working on the car and not motor parts. So as you can see, I've cut out all this mess. So that used to sit about there, and you can see all the room at the back here. So literally the actual firewall is about 2.5 to 3 inches or something like that. So as you can see, that is now the gearbox tunnel. I may end up cutting more of this out. As you can see, I can go all the way to the steering rack. That's obviously that there. It's footwell. Doing to clean up all my edges, but yeah. So I'm gonna try and I want to take as minimal as I can out. That way there's a bit more structural rigidity in it. Not a drift car, you can reinforce it later, but I'm not good when it comes to fabricating stuff. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it like that for now. And when we can dummy test the motor back in, I'll be able to see where I need to cut more over either way. But now that should be giving us about, yeah, 2-3 inches more room to set the motor further back. Gonna chuck the flap wheel on the grinder and clean up all those edges. Alright guys, so I brought more parts, motors, everything. I've actually got a pretty good deal. They are obviously more BARRAs. These two are NAs, and that is a turbo motor. The NAs just need new rings in them, and they're good to go. and the turbo motor just needs a new chain guide at the top, and yeah, she's good to go. There's like 6 ECUs, harness, pedal box, oil pan, do have a gearbox. Yeah, a lot of spare parts, which is mint. So yeah, unload it all, sort it out, clean the shed. It's a mess, got no room for it all, but I'll work it out. Yeah, let's unload it. Guys, this is going to be a little update on where we're at. Most of this video has probably just been me talking, as I'm doing a lot. I think the last time I would have showed you, there would have been 3 motors, gearbox, and a pile of crap everywhere. Somewhat organised, but it's not. So as for the car, I'm in the process of doing electrics. Now, as you can probably see in here, that's the full 350Z harness. Well, there's 3 there, and I actually have the other one in my other shed. So there's just stuff happening everywhere. When it comes to motor and gearbox wise, I'm waiting for the subframe before we can start bolting the motor in. Once we have the subframe, the motor's bolted in, gearbox is mounted, and then it's going to be time to rebuild the motor. So while I'm waiting for the subframe, tackling the wiring. Now, over here, it is my absolute chaotic mess. This is just a little test piece I'm doing. So this is going to be main power into this fuse busbar box. Power out of there is going to then be powering my switches, which is the red wire, yellow. It's going to go obviously to the top. So when the switch is in the on position, little green light at the bottom, that one is going to tell me it's on. And then from there, I need to wire it into this relay. I think it's going to work. I hope it's going to work. If it does work, I will probably actually put drawings, or I'll probably go in a bit more depth of how I'm wiring my switch panel up, because this is going to be fuel pump, relay, sorry, these are the relays. It's going to be fuel pump, radiator, and then lights, running lights, headlights, tail lights, underglow. Obviously, fuel pump relay is recommended to have it close to the fuel pump, so it's going to be literally at the fuel pump. So the plan is to do just this testing. I'm not going to plug any components up. Just going to put the switch on, do the multimeter. As long as I'm getting power out of this wire here off the relay, then I know all my wiring's worked. I think I know what I'm doing. I'm going to try and get this finished up, quickly chuck it in the car, bolt it up, see how we go. So catch you guys there. Alright guys, update on where we're at. So can't remember if I showed you or not, but we have cut all the second firewall out for the Z. Let's quickly clean the lens. So where we're at now is I actually did go and get the sump shortened, so you can see that's all new. You can see we've cut all this out. So it used to come to about here, so we literally cut that much out. And unfortunately we lost around 3 litres of oil. So the motor plan is we're going to bolt this sump that's cut to the motor. We're then going to mount it and fit it in the car. And so what we're going to do is add like the side wings to the sump, and we want to mount it first so we can see where we can fit the side mounts to the sump. And we are going to be, oops, wires everywhere, and we are going to be baffling it. So it'll be a baffle sump, and hopefully we can get around 7 litres of oil back in it. I will also be running a 2 litre accumulator as well. That way all the oil and all that is done properly. Now, I've been doing all the wiring myself, so I stripped everything out. The underglow is just laying down. Everything was stripped out of the Z, and I've started to wire it up all myself. So the switch panel here, I just brought the Clenco switch panel off some Speedway website, laser cutted some stainless steel at work, and I've got another bit for the isolation switch. But you can see I have just ran all the tail lights and brakes all through here. So I've got ground, and I kept all the factory wiring out of it. So that goes to the hazard lights, and that's obviously your brake and everything. All that was fairly easy. I've tested it all works. So coming out of it, these are just the wires that do your hazards and all that crap. I will probably go in depth more of what each color is, probably when it's all done, as yeah, there's just wires everywhere. I'll show you in here. So that's my little fuse relay part I've made. So all the switches go into here, and then these parts will go to the components. So that's lights. So I've got tail lights, headlights, and then underglow. So when I hit the light switch, all that turns on. I've got a I can't remember what that's called, a flasher relay. So I'm running 2 relays just for the hazards, just the way that they kind of recommended it. And then that output there will just go straight to lights. So when I flick the hazard switch, hazards start flashing. I've all tested it, it all works fine. I have done the brake pedal. I've literally got stuff everywhere at the moment. Don't think it's on the car. Hold on, give me a bit. Found it. So, can't reach it. With the Zeds, there is 2 plugs for the brake pedal, a brown and a black. Brown controls your ABS and black controls your lights. So if you are doing this, all you need is a black wire. The red wire with a yellow stripe, you just need constant 12-volt power to that. And then you should have a pink wire with a blue stripe, and that will go straight to your tail light, brake lights. So obviously when you hit the brakes, the light just goes brighter, and that's what a brake light is. So yes, I've got down here, a bit hard to see, but there is 3 different wires, and they're obviously hazards, brake lights, and just normal tail lights. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. The wiring is my first time doing wiring, so I'm learning heaps. Alright guys, wiring is done, complete. That was a flippin' big job for me, being my first time, but what I'm going to do is probably run you through it all. I was going to do all the colours of what each individual thing does, but I think that's going to be an absolute more of a headache and more confusing than what it is. It's not hard to work out what's positive and what's negative. You just plug it, play, and you work it out real simple. I spent probably way more than 15-20 hours doing the whole car. Yeah, so I'll run you from front to back, then we'll go inside and I'll show you how I've wired all that up. Let's do it. Alright, so starting with the front, we're going to jump to the driver's side. All I have coming out from the driver's side, which through here, haven't glued that in yet, is just the wipers. I've got it set to 1 speed. It is the fastest speed. To be honest, when I'm drifting in the rain, I usually just chuck it on the fastest speed, and I'm looking at my side windows, passenger side window, not really the front window. Alright, jumping to the headlights. All we've done is you just got the 1 connector. I've ran that down to the ground. Now this ground here controls both of the grounds for the thermos. I've run it through the front rad support, and then up to this bit of a mess here again. That's just the 1 plug for the headlight, ground for the headlight, and this will be all neat after. It's all going to come off now. Down through here. There will be a grommet. Right, jumping into the back here. Relocated the battery in the center of my boot. obviously main power is a little bit messy through the center. Still need to put the clamps around it so it doesn't flop around everywhere. Ground, pretty simple, straight to a bolt over there. It is a thick ground and it is sturdy and it works because everything turns on. Tail lights and hazards. So I managed to actually maintain the factory back part that comes out. So you got your hazard plug and then you got your tail lights. So all that was factory, and I literally just kept all the through here. It is still all the factory colors and wires up and through. About here I cut them and extended the wire as I went to a plug. Also do have the grounds for everything, right, easy, accessible for everything. As for the underglow, I still managed to run the underglow. Quickly show you again. The two cables here, they are for the underglow, through the grommet, under the car. Underglow is connected to my main lights as well. But it's easy to get to. I'll show you that later on. So yes, I'll show you inside the car. So when you're in here, this panel is actually going to be, you know, in there. Start the car, gonna go in the ISO, turn it on, come over to the switch panel, your ignition, and then over here, wipers. Wipers moving, magic. Hazards, you can hear the flash relay. Is a requirement to run hazards for racing. Fans. Fans, what next? Driving lights. I do only have one globe at the moment. So the globe's on, underglow's flashing all the way around. Headlights and the little park light, underglow. So everything's wired up. Alright guys, so today's plan is we're going to be mounting gearbox to motor and then test fitting in the car. Probably won't get to welding brackets or anything in, just gonna have to test fit it. Probably smash the crap out of the tunnel to fit the fat ass T56. Yeah, it's about 42 degrees today here in Perth. It is hot as hell, so just gonna go slow and then tomorrow try and finish it off. Whole reason why we are test fitting it is that because when we did get the sump shortened, we lost about 3.5 litres of oil capacity. So what we're going to be doing is testing it to see how far of the wings we can come out, baffle them, do all that good stuff. Yeah. See you guys somewhere up on a tripod so you're out of our way, so we can get into slapping a big straight 6 into a V6 engine bay. Let's do it. Alright guys, so first test fit is in, and it actually went a lot better than we kind of thought. You can kind of see where we've got the black marking. It's kind of where we're going to have to smash a bit of the tunnel. We are going to cut more of this out here so we can clear the starter motor. Gearbox length is actually pretty spot on, so we do have to come back about, I've got to come back literally to about there, so that will centralise the shifter. Perfect, didn't expect that, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, going to pull the motor out now, start smashing the crap out of the tunnel, clean up that other part to grind that off and chuck it back in, see how we go. Yeah, test fit 1 went good. Catch you on the next test fit. Alright guys, so motor's back in. We are very happy with where it's sitting. you can see we smashed the crap out the tunnel. Pretty good clearance on that now. If we do take it out, probably hit a little bit more. It's just for vibrations and that crap. Yeah, pretty good clearance between the turbo and the strut tower. We are slowly getting there. She is looking pretty cool. And just to quickly add, the downpipe is flipping perfect. This goes right around the steering shaft, and then dump pipe is literally between the gearbox and then the chassis rail straight out. Almost like the barrel is meant to go in here, so everything's kind of fitting up pretty neat. Not going to worry about test fitting the intake because we're pretty confident it will fit, but we may end up doing it. We'll see. So yeah, I'll update you guys when we next have a good update. Right guys, update. So we bolted the front rad support on, which is over there, and it literally, with the thermo fans, sat about halfway into whatever that part is there. So that's not going to work because obviously you can't put any harmonic balancer, no belt and all that crap. So what we're going to have to do is try and work out how we can move the radiator forward. Now, I've been speaking to people, they were saying maybe look at doing like a slim thermo fan, but I just can't find any that I'm happy with. I mean, I can do Mishimoto, get it done with, put them in, but I still don't know if I'm going to get the clearance with it, as it's a very tight fit. So the plan is as well that the intercooler fits in here perfect. So if the fans extrude a little bit like this, I won't be able to fit the intercooler in. I can just go full tube front end. Don't really want to though. It's kind of money don't want to spend, as kind of still need to do a few more things to this. But tube front end will be worst case scenario. We have test fitted the bonnet. It actually does fit and clear the barra. Well, it won't shut fully. We're about 5 mil away, but that is just hitting just the like the support under the bonnet. Cut that out, it will shut. So probably will have to just raise the bonnet a little bit. That way you can kind of get airflow out of it, get the heat out of the engine bay. But yeah, I've just spoke for like 4 minutes, so a lot of these videos I've probably said 100 times already. You probably won't see me doing much. It'll be more explaining what we're doing and why we're doing it. Yeah, first time me doing it, second person doing it, so yeah. Let's look at trying to do the radiator. Alright, update. Change of plans for the engine mount. So as you can see, that is what we were going to do, but after speaking to a few of the drifters here and a few other racers, they said I've got a bushing welded to basically another bushing, so there's going to be a lot of movement in the motor. They said basically choose one or the other, so either your tough mount or the factory 350 mount. So we're actually going to be going back to the tough mount, as in when I run the 350 engine mount, I actually can't fit the BARRA oil filter on the side of it, and as you can see, I've actually just mocked up the oil cooler lines and the adapter plate, and I actually hit the bottom of the crossmember here, so I may need to notch that out a little bit. But yeah, that's what we were going to do, and now that is a big fat no. This is the first time my dad and I are doing anything crazy with the car. I mean, this is full custom, putting a motor that shouldn't be in a car type of thing. But that's where we're at. Got material. Shed's an absolute mess. Soon as we have free time, we will hopefully get the motor in position, as in I'm going to weld it up so it sits by itself and it's not sitting with the gearbox jacked up and sitting on a piece of wood. That's all that's keeping the motor in place at the moment. So yeah, why we are kind of mocking that up and we're writing material, I've gone through and mounted the big fat flipping intercooler. She big. I've also mounted oil cooler. It's actually hard to see, but it's tucked in there. There is heaps of room behind it. Let me just move the wheel out of the way. Gotta love an FDF angle kit. That's it. That's it in there. I'll show you the brackets when I take the bumper off, which I'll actually just do now. Ta-da! So that's the intercooler. It is literally the size of my radiator. It is flipping huge. As for thermo fans, you can see clearly there is no room. So I've mounted them in front and I've changed their spinning. So now it pushes in and not just blows in, if that makes sense. So it's all mounted up. Just got to clean up, oh shivers, can't see the screen, here we go. Just got to clean up all the edges and that. So oil cooler straight through there, through the old stock air filter intake box section. And then here's my welding attempt. I'm pretty happy with that weld. And then I'm just going to make one more bracket here, and I'm going to go straight in and drill it just on that piece of metal right there. So that'll be nice and sturdy. Alright, and the oil cooler is now bolted on, and it is flipping solid. I'm moving it, and it's moving all the framework around there. So yes, I'm not going to actually touch any, any of the lines as the O-ring falls out then. Just in case I may change something down the road, may need to move it. So I'm just going to leave them like that for now. Leave all that like that. Yeah, obviously the oil will come in the top and it will flow down to cool, and that bottom one is back into the engine. So yeah, pretty simple. Now I'm gonna unbolt the whole front end, paint all the stuff that I've had to make up, and I think that'll be it for a little bit. So yeah, there we go. Alright guys, there you go. That is part 2 of the BARRA swap on the drift car. Obviously I'm pretty sure there might be another 1 or 2 parts to come. I've still got the full motor rebuild, putting it in, and then all the final bits and bobs for the car. Yeah, so if you are wondering, like I said in the beginning of all this stuff, this was basically done last year or beginning of this year. The car is now running perfect. It is pretty mint. I think I might just give you a little sneak peek of how the car is actually at the moment. Won't go too much into it, but so yeah, she's running mint. She made some pretty decent numbers for a BARRA. It's let's say they're pretty cute numbers, but we're just starting low, building our way up. That's what we're doing. Yeah, so pretty much guys, you would have just seen we literally did the wiring, mock up of the motor, bit of the sump cut, started mocking up oil coolers, radiator fans, and the intercooler. So yeah, nothing crazy this part, but next part we'll get into the fun stuff of the motor rebuild. So that's it guys. Just hit the like button if you haven't already, subscribe. I'll leave a link down below to part 1 if you haven't seen that. Pretty sure that's it, so catch you guys in the next video.